Welcome cloners to another game of Tiny Leaders. This time we have Tristan on the right playing Anafenza the Foremost, versus Josh on the left of your screen playing Animar, Soul of Elements. Animar has protection from most of Tristan's deck, so we'll see if he has a chance this game. Tristan goes first and keeps this as his opening hand. Command Tower, Wild Elves, Order of White Clay, Abrupt Decay, Marsh Flats. Josh's opening hand. Volcanic Island, Elvish Mystic, Mental Misstep, Corsair of Crofix, Finthorn Elves, Hinterland Harbour, Hooded Hydra. Tristan starts the game by playing Command Tower into Llanowar Elves, but Josh is ready with the Mental Misstep, paying 2 life but countering Tristan's turn 1 play. On Josh's turn, he pays another life into Wooded Foothills to grab Tropical Island. Josh's Elvish Mystic enters play successfully. On Tristan's turn, Tristan breaks Marsh Flats to grab Scrubland and put it into play, paying 1 life. Tristan then Abrupt Decays Josh's Elf to prevent him from getting a turn 2 Animar. Josh casts Anafenza Elves on his turn 2. Tristan plays Anafenza on his turn 3. On Josh's turn 3, he casts Animar and passes. Tristan scries with Temple of Plenty, and then casts Order of White Clay, which will let Tristan return any and all creatures from his graveyard back to play. Unable to attack past Animar, Tristan passes. Josh plays Corsair of Crofix, giving Animars his first counter of the game. Josh flips Flintwoof Boar off the top of his library. Josh plays Mana Confluence and gains 1 life. It's not often Mana Confluence gives you life. Josh doesn't attack, so he can block Tristan's attack next turn. On Tristan's turn, he casts Cathalli Pridemage and tries to use it to blow up the Corsair, but Josh casts Charm, giving his board hexproof. Tristan attacks and gives his Order of White Clay +1, but doesn't get through with any actual damage or advantage. Tristan breaks Verdant Catacombs for a land post combat. On Josh's turn, he plays Frontier Bivouac and gains a life. He then casts Flintwoof Boa with haste. He then attacks with everything except Animar, dealing Tristan 6 damage. Tristan attacks on his turn, dealing Josh 3 damage with his Cleric. Animar again blocks and stops Anafenza. Tristan equips the Order of White Clay with his sword and passes the turn. During Josh's draw step, Josh draws and then Tristan untaps the order, returning Cathalli Pridemage to play, and then sacking the Cat Wizard to blow up Josh's Centaur enchantment. This way, Tristan stops Josh from playing the Yavimaya Hollow off the top of his library. Josh plays Reclamation Sage almost for free, makes Animar bigger, and casts Hooded Hydra for 6. It should be noted that Anafenza's ability will stop Josh from making tokens with the Hydra when it leaves play. Josh then attacks Tristan for 5 unblockable damage. On Tristan's turn, finding it hard to get around the Hydra and not much in the way of creatures, Tristan just plays Yavimaya Hollow and attacks with the Cleric. Fearing some kind of combat trick, Josh just takes the 3 damage. Tristan just passes the turn. On Josh's turn, he plays a Yavimaya Hollow of his own. Josh then goes to combat and attacks with everything except his Finthorn Elves. Tristan and Josh both have Yavimaya Hollows. Tristan starts by untapping the Order of White Clay and returning the Llanowar Elves to play, as a way of having a blocker against Animar. Tristan blocks like this, putting the Elves in front of the Hydra instead of Animar anyway, since the Hydra deals more damage at the moment. Tristan takes another 5 Animar damage. Tristan and Josh both regenerate creatures, and the only thing that dies is Josh's Reclamation Sage. On Tristan's turn, he attacks with Anafenza and Order of White Clay, boosting the order, and Josh takes 8 damage. Tristan passes. On Josh's turn, he doesn't attack and instead casts Cloud of Fairies, untapping the lands he just tapped to play it. At the end of Josh's turn, Tristan returns Cathalli Pridemage to play with the Order's Sweet ability. Tristan does nothing on his turn. Josh hopes to soon draw Kessig Wolfrun in order to finish this game. Right now he has no cards in hand though, other than the one he drew for the turn. Josh also just passes as the game is in a bit of a stalemate at the moment. Tristan plays a Corsair of Crofix of his own on his turn and plays Overgrown Tomb off the top of library and gains 1 life. Tristan then passes the turn. Josh starts his turn first by attacking with a cloud for 1 damage. Josh then cast Eternal Witness, but both players forgot that the Corsair was actually exiled with Anafenza's ability. That's what Josh returns to hand then casts. Josh then plays Stomping Ground from hand, gaining 1 life. On Tristan's turn, he plays another land off the top of his library, gaining 1 life. This time it's Gavany Township, which is going to do well for him. Tristan casts Reclamation Sage, blowing up Josh's Centaur and Deathrite Shaman. Tristan again passes without attacking. Josh attacks for 1 with the Fairy. Josh passes. Tristan uses Gavany Township at his end step to give all his creatures +1 counters. Tristan plays Windswept Heath, gaining 1 life. Tristan considers attacking this turn, but then decides that his attack will be even more effective with another Gavany Bath for his creatures. He passes. Josh casts Red Sun Zenith for 7, targeting Tristan. Tristan uses Deathrite Shaman to exile creature out of Josh's graveyard, but shouldn't have since it got exiled anyway, to gain 2 life. Tristan then takes 7 damage. Josh takes 1 damage from Mana Confluence. Josh then attacks for 1 with Fairy Cloud. Tristan modifies Flinthoof Boar and uses the Township to pump all his creatures at Josh's end step. On his turn, Tristan plays Woodland Cemetery, gaining a life, and then sacks the Windswept Heath and gains a life right back, finding a land. Tristan casts Eternal Witness, returning Mortify, and then mortifies Josh's Eternal Witness, clearing a path. Tristan then attacks with everything and pumps his creatures again. Josh doesn't have enough creatures and Tristan gets through for lethal, winning the game. So for the recap, Josh didn't attack early game with his Animar, despite Tristan not being able to block it, since he wouldn't have been able to block Tristan's counter-attack with Anafenza. Josh didn't draw his usual suite of bounce creatures and draw spells his deck usually utilizes to make Animar huge. Josh was also unable to draw any removal the entire game for Anafenza. Tristan's Order of White Clay did some work, but it's Tristan's Lano War Elves and Yavimaya Hollow that kept Tristan from losing later in the game, when Big Animar finally arrived. The guy's misplay of exiling Josh's creatures was relevant. Josh would not have been able to return creatures, and Tristan couldn't have exiled stuff with Deathrite. They played a few games with this matchup, and this was actually the game with the fewest misplays. Tristan could also have mortified the Hydra without fear of the Hydra making snake tokens. That's it for now. We hope you enjoyed this game of Tiny Leaders, and join us right back here at the Cloneforge next time for another exciting Magic gameplay.